Okay, Bryan, yeah, tell me about Montana MMA.
Yeah, so we run a mixed martial arts gym here in Bozeman. We started in 1994, and we've been here for a long time, early adopters to the MMA style. We have over 400 students. We have a gym in Bozeman and Livingston. We offer a free trial month for anybody wanting to come check things out. And we have jiu-jitsu classes, judo classes, wrestling classes, striking classes in various disciplines, boxing, Muay Thai, Dutch kickboxing. And we've got competitive classes, we've got non-competitive classes, and everything for all age groups, and a really nice environment. We're kind of an open affiliate school, so we have black belts there from different affiliations. And we were kind of doing a count the other day, and I mean, we've had different people move in and out of the state, but we have 14 black belts in the gym right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is
That's a
I
lot.
didn't
even think it was 10. That is a lot.
It's 14. We've had a few more people move into the area and stuff and come and train, since we're so open to anybody being able to come and train with us and open a cross training. We've got a ton of people. And we just got back from another grappling tournament in Salt Lake, won the team championship again. Kids took second overall, adults took first overall, and we took overall points for a team between kids and adults. So that was good.
So if we start with the kids and they want to get their kids into martial arts, jiu-jitsu, what age do you guys start at the gym, and how should they think about it?
So we recommend 4.5 to start the kids, and just to make sure that they're, able to pay attention and follow directions a little bit. It's going to be different for every kid, of course. But we have a little guys program that's ages 4 to 7, where they're doing a lot of games and just starting to learn to grapple, and everything's like learn through play. And that's like even how any animal species learns to defend itself. So you look like at bear cubs or, tiger kittens. I don't know if that's the right word, but tiger cubs. And they're just like, they play wrestle. And what they're doing there is they're learning to fight, right? So they're learning like, okay, this is how I get on top of somebody, control somebody. If someone's attacking me, this is what I need to do. So, for any kids, that wrestling play, whether it's with their parents or with other kids or whatever, where we keep it kind of lighthearted and fun, but they are learning how to defend themselves and fight through those games.
Yeah, I learned that from coaching there after the years, and it's surprising some of those kids that have been there for years. It's like they have those instincts just to keep themselves protected just from the games.
Yeah, exactly. And that was one of the good things at the tournament. One of our kids that had been with us for a few years, and then he just became an adult. So he just did his first adult division in the grappling tournaments in Salt Lake, and took a first and a silver. Just literally turned 18 a few weeks ago, and that's the 18 to 30-year-old division, and went in and won those. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and the other thing I think it's probably good for the kids is they learn not to just start hitting, and like they learn controlled, how to defend themselves and how to do it safely, versus just when I know, like, being around kids and having nieces and nephews when they're just trying to hit everybody, and they seem to learn when it's appropriate, when it's not there. And
yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things we work on, is just trying to guide the kids through that and give them a good environment to kind of have some structure and learn how to defend themselves and play some games and get some energy out. And, hopefully they continue with it or continue with other sports. So especially for kids, I think it's important that they do as many sports as possible. There's a lot of that research out there right now on, like, the kids, especially early on, should not be sports specific. You really want them to do as many sports as possible until they're like, early teens, mid-teens, before they go like, this is my sport and this is all I'm going to focus on, because they're going to get a lot of different athletic looks and different mobility and different skill sets through these different sports, and see different coaches. And they're also not going to burn out, right? So, if you're putting your kid into something too specific early on, and that's all they're doing, you get a lot of burnout. I mean, especially in the jiu-jitsu community, we know a lot of the wrestling guys, and like, will be guys that were like great wrestlers in high school, and then they just stop, and they're like, well, you'll meet them and be like, hey man, why'd you stop? And they'll be like, man, I wrestled from, kindergarten through high school, and that was my life for that many years. And like, I'm done. Like, I can't do it anymore. It's not fun. So got to be careful with that and find that balance. And obviously that's going to be different for everybody. There are going to be those individuals that are like, start that age and do it forever and still love it, and they have enough of that competitive drive that they keep on going. But that's going to be a few people. So something that's always good. Kids coming in and out of jiu-jitsu is fine. They'll train a little bit, go do soccer, come back, go do something else, come back.
And they can, what's your free trial terms right now for kids
Kids we give 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yep. Kids we get 2 weeks. Adults get a month. Kids just take. Well, we try to have a good coaching ratio with the kids as much as we can, and keeping eyes on them to keep them safe, depending on what training we're doing. Um, so yeah.
And how about for an adult if they've never trained before and they want to get into it? I mean, I could speak to that myself, but I mean, how should they think about it?
Yeah. So for adults, how I would start is you're always going to start with our level 1 classes. We have heavy bags and mitt classes that are beginner friendly, and those are mixed level classes, but they're easy to get into. You're not going to be competing with anybody, and you should be, fairly safe in those, depending upon your current athletic ability and all those kind of things. You're not going to be pushed over your limit. All the exercises and drills can be, leveled to where you're at. And then, we have our jiu-jitsu level 1 classes that we're always kind of working on. And, our current format with our jiu-jitsu level 1 class, they're non-competitive. There's a competitive option in the level 1s towards the end, but people come in, we do a little bit of mobility warm up. We do some jiu-jitsu specific movements to warm up. Then we just do some jiu-jitsu technique and some jiu-jitsu self-defense. And then for students, as optional after the first hour, if they want to stay and get some positional grappling in, to come and do that, where they're learning to grapple without anybody trying to submit them yet. And then when they're ready, or the student feels they're ready, they can go to like an advanced class that has, more competition in it. We definitely want to make sure that we have classes for people that never want to compete, and even jiu-jitsu classes for people that never want to grapple live. We just won't be able to promote people that aren't grappling live, but we do want to have a place where, hey, you just want to learn self-defense, jiu-jitsu, and those pieces, you can come in and do it.
Hi, folks. Quick note from me. If you don't already know, the goal of Mountain Mule Media is to build real connection between Montana's businesses and the people they serve. If this episode or any other has given you something worth thinking about, smiling at, or passing along, I've got a small ask. Share it with a friend, text it to someone, post it in your story. That one simple action helps these businesses get seen, grow, and thrive, and it helps this show keep going. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses. Now back to the show. Do you have any advice to help people get over that barrier of just the fear of coming and looking like an idiot and not knowing what you're doing?
Yeah, man, come with a friend. If you're really, want to do it and you're anxious and nervous or whatever, like, I think that's the best thing to do is like check it out with a buddy who's also new. Cause then you have two people there on the same page, and that when you're both training, that you're both going to have the same questions and same problems and need to be shown the same things. I think the anxiety with jiu-jitsu is like, you're going to be there with a partner and you're holding your partner back or whatever. Everybody's at a different level when we go into the gym, no matter what. But, hopefully everybody in the beginner classes are all friendly to help each other get ready and get them going. And, again, going in with a friend's a good way to do that. And then we always have other students there that are willing to help the new guys out as the coaches are jumping around and helping everybody.
Yeah, and it seems, I can speak to that too, is it seems like the upper belts, the more seasoned guys are always very willing to help and encourage people to keep training. And
yeah, absolutely. Because they've been there, they've been through the whole thing, and they know how hard it is. And it's like, okay, we got to get in and help these new guys make it through this, because it can be a challenge. So our goal with our level 1 classes is just to have the easiest intro classes as possible. So the heavy bag days, which are like Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, again, really easy because it's just you and a bag. Tuesdays, level 1s for striking is kind of like mitt work. And you do have to work with a partner on that. It's a slightly more advanced, but it still should be accessible for everybody.
And how about for women? There's women specific stuff there?
Yep. We do have a women's only self-defense class on Fridays, and that's always free. We were doing them on the weekends for a while, and, like every quarter. And we do those like maybe every 6 months now, a free one on the weekends, because not everybody can make Friday night. But that's a good place to kind of start, and get some basic self-defense and how jiu-jitsu is used in self-defense. And we do some striking in there as well. And one of the reasons we want to do it weekly is, for your self-defense to work, you have to constantly train it, right? It has to be ready to go. You can't just know it or be like, oh, I went to a course once. It's not going to work. You can't go just to one course. I think we've talked about that before. So we do this class on Fridays so that people that want to learn the self-defense can go in. If you have questions, you can go in one week and, give your questions to the instructor. And if they don't have an immediate answer, they can go to other instructors and check their resources and, figure out, okay, like, how do we actually deal with the situation? because you'll have different questions. I had a question recently that I hadn't even considered where someone was like, hey, if I'm holding my baby and someone attacks me, what do I do? And like, what are some ways to mitigate the damage to that? And, so I was like, oh, I haven't really thought about that. So I spent some time thinking about that and doing some drills and just giving that person some, concepts and some things that might help them with like, the baby thing. So, and one of the things I'd recommend right away for people that are considering that is one, for women that have a child where they, might be in a situation where something happens, they do sell like a necklace that's an alarm necklace that you can push and press that will send an emergency call out to somebody. So I would definitely have that going, especially because you're going to be out with a child. And then I can't remember exactly what they're called, but there's like a blanket that you hold your baby in, and it like wraps around your shoulders. So then your arms are free, right? So that would be another thing to kind of like always consider to have that with you. So if you do have to hold your baby, maybe they're in that blanket thing, you're still holding them, but you could also let your arms go if you had to. So there's some items out there like that.
Yeah, the self-defense stuff is very eye-opening when we've done some of the knife training, and that stuff is,
Yeah.
and even that we're, drilling it very lightly, but you realize how much of a disadvantage you're at, whether you're trained or not.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, the knife stuff's interesting. We're kind of doing a cycle of that again right now, and learning to grapple with it and understanding, obviously, that if somebody has a weapon, we're going to try to run away or disengage or whatever you want to call it. And that's just another reason not to get in an altercation. I mean, even in Bozeman here, there's been some stabbings recently, and it's like you can't fight somebody and just think, oh, this is going to be a fair fight. You never know how far somebody's going to take anything. You don't know if they're going to pull out a weapon. And if they do, it's just too dangerous. So you really have to let your ego go and be willing to be like, hey man, you're right. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I'm leaving. Didn't mean for this to happen, blah, blah, blah. Apologize, whatever you need to do to disengage the situation. Because again, you don't know if they're going to pull a weapon. You don't know if their buddies are going to jump in. You have no idea what's going to happen in those situations. So you want to be able to defend yourself if somebody does start laying hands on you so that you can disengage. I was talking about this with a group we have, is like self-defense isn't about winning. So some people will be like, oh, here's a self-defense technique and it's me winning and defeating this person and they're on the ground and I'm holding them in a nonsense wrist lock or something. And it's like, well, one, that might not even work. And two, like you just need to survive that situation and be able to get out of there and disengage if you can. But there's just so many factors. Is it one-on-one situation? Are you alone with somebody in a room? Is that the situation where you're getting attacked? Like, are there other people? Like, do you have an exit? Do you not have an exit? What's the area? Are you in the snow? Are you on the ice? Do they have high ground? Do you have low ground? Are you on a hill? Like, who knows, man? Are there people around you that you're going to run into if you do something? Like, all those things are going to limit the techniques you can use. And, just so many variables. Can you go to the ground? Can you do a takedown? Can you not? There's so much that you have to think about. So as far as like training for self-defense, I'm still a big believer of you've got to do a little bit of, striking, and you've got to do some jiu-jitsu. You've got to be able to have an idea of what to do no matter where the fight goes. And then that is also going to give you, the ability to defend depending upon those different criteria as what the ground's like. If I can't box and it's icy and snowy, I really don't have much, right? So you better be able to do some hands and some Muay Thai clinch because that's what you're going to have there, right? Anyway, we can go on and on about those topics, but train everything if you're going to train self-defense, be consistent with it. And, that Friday class for the women, they do a little bit of everything. And it's a good segue to get comfortable with the gym, comfortable with your training partners. And then we also have like a Tuesday night, like women's only self-defense group that, Natalie Chapweski runs for us. She's one of the black belts at the gym. And, so yeah, we got a good women's group going. I think some nights there'll be like almost 20 plus women in that group training together. And then, they create their own kind of like micro community, and they know what days the other girls are going to train. So if they want to train on Friday, they can be like, hey, they find out who else is going in for whatever class and can make sure they have partners.
And then you can get like stuck under a rock of going to class every day for 4 or 5 years straight. Not speaking from experience.
Yeah, just keep going in and slowly getting better. It's that 1% better a day kind of thing and getting it moving.
Is there any advice you have for people, like if it's their first time in general, just like how to prepare or show up or what to expect? Any pointers that are helpful or change anything, or just show up? And
yeah, go easy. Maybe, I want to try to do too many classes in one day. Maybe do one class and like make sure you're sleeping and that you're, eating fairly well, and, your hydration's up for the day and you're not, coming in exhausted. I guess the other thing I would say is don't start a school thinking, I'm going to train 5 days a week. I'm going to train 7 days a week. So you want to start out 2 days a week, build that into your lifestyle and schedule, especially if you have family, kids, work, other activities you want to do. You don't have to be the best guy in the gym in a year. You can be like, all right, I'm going to train 2 days a week because that's what works for me right now. And then if it looks like you can add a third, then it'd be like, okay, I can add a third day and still see my family and do my other activities and be with my friends, all that kind of stuff. And then the more you train, you can kind of decide, okay, do I want to go from 3 to 4 or whatever? I would say average. I'm thinking people get 3 days a weekend for the kind of, I guess, considered hobbyists, where they're not trying to be an MMA fighter or compete in jiu-jitsu tournaments. Most of those guys realistically are getting 3 days a weekend at the gym, and then probably spending another couple days outside of the gym at their weight room or stretching, and then self-studying at home. So it's not like you don't only have 3 hours at the gym on the classes you're there, right? You can be like, I'm going to be physically at the gym for 3 hours a week or whatever, or 6 hours a week if you're doing 2 classes. But you have a lot of time and free time that you can choose to study jiu-jitsu on your own, study self-defense on your own. I talk to people about this, and the kids and the teens especially. I'm like, guys, if you want to be good, like, what are you looking at your phone when you're in the car? Because, like, are you watching nonsense? I mean, you could be studying jiu-jitsu technique or self-defense techniques, or getting better at something else you want to be good at, whether it's, music or repairing vehicles or hunting or whatever. There's good things out there, so make sure you're spending your time doing that.
You're doing stuff like how many Gallatin County sheriffs train there? Quite a few. Is there?
So, yeah, so they're correctional. I'm going to get this wrong. I think it's I don't know if it's defensive tactics instructors. I don't know what the word is, but they're tactics instructors, all train there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so like all their guys that teach their guys,
Yep.
train there. So, and then they'll, anytime, the police department or the sheriff's department, anytime any of them have needed to use our facility because they needed more space for something, or construction's going on somewhere else, or there's a room not available, we've always let them use our area to train and use our mat space. So they'll use that sometimes as well. But we do have police officers there as well that are just in highway patrol, and, regular sheriff's officers, as well as the sheriff's instructors that are there, that come in and train. So it's good that they're getting those tools in their pockets.
Yeah, it's kind of reassuring knowing a lot of those guys train there, because they seem to have pretty healthy attitudes just about hand-to-hand combat and the way they can de-escalate things and handle situations.
Because they've actually grappled. I mean, I can't remember if this actually happened somewhere. I know it did somewhere where they were saying that all the police had to be a blue belt. There was some county somewhere that was doing that. Had to be a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, which is good, because if you've had to grapple, you're going to be less panicky, because you're going to know when you're actually in danger and not in danger, and know when you're going to be able to hold somebody. You're also going to know when they're in trouble or not in trouble, whether it's asphyxiation or whatever. You're going to have a better idea of being able to keep those people safe, while keeping yourself safe. And that's going to be a fine balance in a situation for them. And that, again, that'd be like and then just being able to have that control, as much of a calm mind as possible, because that's going to be a very stressful situation that most people aren't going to ever experience. So they're not going to know how they would act in that situation. So it's, so the more you can be pressure testing your mind, the more you're going to have a calm mind and make rational decisions when you need to.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I know from when I first started just grappling in the gym and then going to competition, it changes you, because you almost black out at first. You panic, your fight or flight kicks in, and you're trying to stay alive, and
exactly,
you think you're in real life or death combat.
Yeah, exactly. So the more you can grapple and do those kind of things, the easier that's going to be when you go into competition and everything else, because you're going to kind of have felt it. And then just understanding the energy of people. I think, sometimes that fight or flight energy comes from that person's energy that's coming at you, feels aggressive and feels like, like they want to hurt you or whatever, instead of just competing with you. So if you immediately match their energy, I think that fight or flight happens more. But if you can maintain your own energy, then you won't get there. You can just be calm and relaxed. Like I'll do that when I grapple. I'll be like pretty real smooth and chill. And if someone's going really hard, they'll settle into my energy if I don't match theirs. So that's always a good thing.
There anything anyone else can do to help you out with the business? You looking for coaches or
Oh man.
anything you're looking for?
Um,
Employees?
no. I have not right now. We're we have a lot of good coaches there that kind of can move up and go into teaching positions and things like that. I mean, we're pretty good. Like I said, we've got a ton of people that help coach and those things, and we kind of have a handle on our marketing right now. The only thing that we would be looking for that we've kind of played around with in the past is just, you know, finding companies that would come in and like deep clean the gym, like head to toe, like once a month, and trying to find something like that that's affordable. Those are things that, I mean, we clean the gym every day anyway, but to have a company that can come in and save that time, and just but like detail it, if that makes sense. So, always looking for stuff for that. And, we're always looking for sponsors for athletes. I guess on a side of anything that we would be looking for is like we have, amateur competitors and professional competitors that have travel costs for tournaments and events and MMA fights, so we're always looking for sponsors for events and for athletes. And then people that want to sponsor, like we have kids on scholarships, and in the summer, so we have like some teens that are on scholarships. So in the summer, I have them come in and like do a little bit of work around the gym just to kind of earn their stuff a little bit. But, we have some younger kids that can't do that. So anytime we can get scholarship funds, that is something we look for. I mean, my goal if we could somehow figure out how to, this is way off but like I've always had like the dream of like, could you do a college scholarship for someone competing in jiu-jitsu or MMA? Like, could you set up something where, and maybe somebody could help with this, right? If we're looking for someone we needed help with, be like, okay, like how do you raise money to be like, okay, we have 3 full-time, college scholarships for people that train at the gym where they're helping getting their school paid for and other things like while they train, as long as they obviously maintain grades and a certain amount of training so that they can, try to become, professional grappler, professional MMA fighter while they're going to college and like, help them take through the path and put that together. That'd be something cool if that ever happened. A lot of work.
Yeah. And not to get off on a totally different tangent too, but if somebody's just looking for a good place to go train and like be around good people that are good influence just to their life in general, that was one of my biggest takeaways. It's just the environment of people and the friends I've made is like it's a family and a community.
Yeah, absolutely. The people you train with and, any people that you go through a stressful situation with and journey with, like they'll become your friends because you're all on the same page. You're all kind of going in the same direction. And like with grappling, it's that way, and jiu-jitsu and martial arts and all that. You meet friends, you learn from people, and you just get around a great group of people. And it's been good. We'll probably do this again next summer, but we ran, like we're on the tail end of this 8-week program that we're doing like free 8 weeks for people where they had classes twice a week. And, we started with, I think like 60 people. And I think we got out of the 60 people, like 25 people are still doing it. And then, I think all those people are going to end up signing up and they're all friends now. And what's interesting, I was talking to one of the guys today that signed up already. And he's like, everybody's asking him if he's going to sign up after the free program, which is interesting because they're all just meeting each other and have been training with each other for 2 months. And now they're all kind of communicating about that. And so that's good. That's pretty exciting as well.
Yeah, that's a lot of my, I don't know, probably half or more of my really good friends in here I've met at that gym.
Oh, yeah.
They just become family.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you end up spending a lot of time with them, and like, so it's good. You kind of, for me, it's always hard to like, I didn't really stay too close in touch with my high school friends because I moved a lot through middle and grade school and high school. So like my high school friends were just my friends during high school, but I didn't have them before that. And anyway, everybody kind of just went different directions after high school. And I stay pretty close with a few of my college friends. And then, but yeah, the rest of my friends are all people from the gym.
Yeah.
And so when they move, it's sad. We've had a lot of people move this year. It's like, oh man, we've been talking about that. Just like, people are like, all right, or they graduate college and go somewhere else. And you just meet a lot of really good people. And then they're like, and then sometimes they leave Bozeman. So it's been one of those things. So man, this last 12 months, 18 months has been like the most people that have left. So it's like, that have been like really good training partners, really good friends, but That's part of it. I think that's the toughest part about jiu-jitsu for me. It's like getting to meet these people and get to spend a certain amount of time with them. And then at some point, like they're gone and you're just like, oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the feeling because a bunch of my friends have moved too.
Yeah.
We're in the process of moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if people want to come check out the gym websites.
Yep. MontanaMMA.com, MontanaMixedMartialArts.com. Basically, we try to, for adults, have everybody come by, Monday, Wednesday at like 3:00 or 7:30 p.m., 3:30 or 7:30 p.m. and do a walkthrough for the gym, get you signed up for a free month, and then go over the schedule, kind of get everybody's goals, help them put a schedule together and get them in and come check it out. So we've got loaner gear for everybody there. Got loaner gloves, loaner shin guards for the striking classes, and then just shorts and t-shirts or athletic leggings for the jiu-jitsu classes as people are getting started.
And you've got a pretty diverse schedule depending on people's work schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 5:30 a.m. We've got noon classes every day of the week, 5:30 a.m. every day of the week. And then we've got, 5:30 p.m., 6:30 p.m. classes Monday through Friday. And then we've got some, additional later classes during the week as well. And then a Saturday and Sunday grappling class as well. So we've got, classes 7 days a week, multiple different times and things like that. And then if you do end up getting, becoming part of one of the competition teams and they have different trainings going on, like there'll be trainings outside of that too, that are just kind of like, all right, we have a Muay Thai tournament coming up, that a few guys are going to in Mesa in November. So like those guys will probably get together on the weekends and just like get extra rounds in for that tournament. So.
Okay, you said website, you're on Instagram, Facebook, everything else too?
Yep, Instagram, Facebook, all the cool pages.
How many people have to say that they heard about your gym on the podcast to streamline me to a black belt?
Wow. I don't think there's a number.
It's too bad. Guess I'll just keep training.
Yeah, just
get it the old-fashioned way.
Keep working. It's got to get in, chip away at it. I don't know if there's any kind of streamliness. Yeah, you just got to get in and go.
I'm almost healed back up, so I'll be in there soon.
Good. What was your injury?
My hip flexor tore.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Dang, dude. I did that once.
Yeah.
That's no good.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Here, I stumbled across that Dramamine is good for nerve pain for people that are having back issues and stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Super interesting. I'm not a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
but I took a flight and I was taking Dramamine on the flight, and then like my back injury from my car accident hurt, and I was like, that's weird. Like, why does this not hurt on this trip? And then I started doing some research on Dramamine and the antihistamines that are in it, and I guess like the antihistamines that are in it prevent nerve pain and all this kind of stuff. So,
oh, that is interesting.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it'll work for everybody, but.
All right. Well, Bryan, appreciate your time, and hopefully some more people hear this and come crowd your gym.
Appreciate it, Tim. Thanks, man.
Thanks for listening, folks. You can find the full blog post for every episode, along with key takeaways and links at mountain-mule.com. If you haven't yet, consider following the show. That one small action helps these Montana businesses get seen, grow, and thrive, and it helps this podcast keep going too. If you know a business that would be a good fit for the show, we'd love to hear from you. Just reach out through the website or social. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses. See you on the next show.